Hello, Rani aka Mac, and welcome. So today I want to break down the Squadron 42 trailer that we saw, or the vertical slice that we saw. It's going to be in two parts because it's quite a long trailer, and I've also included some of the information from the commentary that Chris Roberts, Sean Tracy, and Dave Haddock did. So it starts off and begins in the Odin system as we watch this epic Idris come into the shot, followed by the Acheron station, which is the Shuban mining facility. This is actually 8 kilometers in size. It's got a lot of interior to it as well. And this is about the beginning of the second act. You've been on the Stanton Idris for a little while now, so you're sort of settled in there. It looks as though the Idris has been sent to offer protection to the employees of this station. There has been quite a few recent attacks by the outlaw group known as the OMC. So you wake up on board the Idris in your crew quarters, and the bed has these really cool retractable sides, nice shutters and cool monitor inside. You get out of bed, you can see others doing the same. You open the locker and change your clothes from sleepwear to the lieutenant's uniform. Chris Roberts says he wants this all to be tactile, so what you can carry is what you'll have on you. There is no magic bag, so having these lockers are quite important. You head past 2 NPCs engaged in a dialogue regarding the food that's on offer. Part of the rich, immersive NPC backstories, which you'll be able to speak to and build relationships with pretty much all of the NPCs. They all have a lot of dialogue there. You head into the mess hall and you can see someone using the microwave, with many others just sat around eating and chatting. Now, he did say that if you come in at a different time, they will be doing other things. It's not always going to be the same motion. They have their own 24-hour life cycle going on. But then you exit into a myriad of corridors until you get to an elevator where the Marine stood next to it. And he asks you about how the combat felt. He's quite fresh and hasn't seen any action. And the dialogue and performance capture just felt great, giving you an option on how to respond. And again, this will reflect your relationships with NPCs, but the level of detail and the subtleties in the way he responds to you, his pauses, his reactions, very, very cool, and something we haven't really seen to this level in games. Anyway, you take the elevator to the bridge and you get a great view of all the stations. There's a little stuttering with the frame rate and so forth. He did say it's live capture of the gameplay build. Nothing is faked. It's not fully optimized yet, so the FPS is going to lag a bit. But the goal is to have high-end PCs running at 60 FPS and then low-spec machines running at about 30 as a minimum. One member you can hear complains about how the Shuban pilots are getting too close to the Stanton. You can see 2 Mustangs sort of flying past. You hear other members talking to each other over the comms, and the captain is also on the bridge doing whatever she needs to do, just wandering around. One lady does try and spark up a dialogue with you, but is promptly pinged back into the job. You leave and head down the sort of side entrance staircase. Now, this is actually the military version of the Idris. The one in the Persistent universe is the civilian version, so there'll be slight subtlety differences there. But once you get into a crazy maze, another crazy maze of corridors, you can see other staff stood in a conversation going about their business. You wander into the engineering and get scanned, I assume for security reasons, which is pretty cool, and meet up with Morrow, who is lowering the antimatter generators into the hydrofluid bath, which is designed to keep the temperatures down, something that engineers in the actual Persistent universe, so you, myself, will be doing as part of the engineering career. Now, they've said that NPCs can detect where you're looking at, and if you look at something specific, they will talk to you about it. So it's kind of a way of, if you have an interest in something, you think, what on earth is that? And you're looking at it, the NPC will recognize that and start telling you more about it. It's in the early stages, but they want to focus on behavior and movement of the AI, make it as good as possible, including all these little subtleties as well. But after a little dialogue, you leave and hear an announcement over the ship Tannoy requesting all pilots to head to the briefing room. Upon arriving, you enter in time to hear the conversation with the director of the Shuban station, and Liam Cunningham's character, I think it's Mr. White or Captain White, disagreeing over the Navy's presence in the system. This raises a few questions as to why he is so hostile about this. It sounds like they don't want to piss off the private security group or another outlaw group that they have protecting them. But Captain White gestures you to sit next to Mark Hamill for the briefing of the mission at hand. If you actually stand there looking at them, rather than sitting down, you will have a handful of prompts to encourage you to sit down from both Mark Hamill's character and Liam Cunningham's character as well. So the mission is that you're asked to patrol the Coil, ensuring that it's clear of the pirates, and the secondary objective is to locate a missing Shuban starfarer. The dialogue for both characters felt very fluid, and I love the cinematics. It's all very, very real. It just feels good. You get a call from the Sophie Wu character, who is actually calling you. All these comm calls are calling you from the location as to where they are on the ship, and the Wexler call that we saw was him calling you from the office in the Shuben base. Nothing is faked. They're actually in those locations. If you went over to that location, or if you were allowed to, you would see them there talking to you at that particular time. You can also follow all the NPCs to their location. Hamill actually walks all the way to his location, where you meet up with him later, and changes his clothing. He gets his helmet on. It's all done in real time, and you can just follow them around and watch them going about the business. They did say they're still pushing the characters a little further. Additional simulation, better muscles in the faces particularly, better blinks, and also the hair and so forth. So that's still to come. But again, you get another Moby call, this time letting you know that your ship is ready for you to go and get in it. You wander down to the hangars, and along the way you pass the escape pods. And then you finally get to the Master at Arms. Now this is one of my favourite bits, where you request your gear, your weapons. You request a knife, and it looks great when he places it on the counter. There's a little out of sync spin and inspect of the knife. But it's more than just picking up weapons on a screen. They want shops to do this as well, so it's not just a case of going in, choosing your inventory, and then walking away. You request it from an NPC who will then place it in front of you, and you can decide what you do with it. The same goes for the Gemini pistol. You inspect it, which is very cool, holds the magazine in one hand. And I really look forward to attaining new weapons in the game and choosing weapons for the job at hand and filling up this Master at Arms inventory and so forth. All the weapon racks behind him apparently will be full with weapons. And there's a little nod to the Terminator 1, sort of an Easter egg where you ask for a phase rifle in the 40 watt range. Pretty subtle. They did say that this isn't going to be an option from the beginning. You have to unlock it in a way, and there's many other Easter eggs within Squadron 42, and they're looking forward to seeing us find them. But you can see on the right-hand side as you head towards the hangar that there is a firing range, a great place to get accustomed to the different weapons, testing them out and figuring out what works for you the best. Now you pass over the hangar bay, you meet a guy with a mop who's called Balosa, I believe, and I expect he'll have a lot of backstory to him, not just a mop guy. There is a bit more to him than it seems, I think Chris Roberts says, but also puddles and mopping are apparently a procedural thing, and he will walk around cleaning the ship as puddles arise. But you meet up with Hamill, who is customizing his ship on this new holo viewer, which is great to see a new one. He remarks that changing your loadout is a good idea to suit the enemy OMC style. So this will likely be where you do it. And it's a good sort of nod to say that not every AI will fight the same. The Vandal will probably fight differently to the OMC. The OMC will fight differently to the UEE or the Advocacy. Fighting each one will require a different style and a different loadout. Got to a cool little cutscene with the prisoner OMCs coming in. The Argo drops in bringing 3 pirates, each with a great unique character playing alongside the Marines characters. You can leave the cutscene and go into first person again and just go about doing your thing. But while this cutscene does play out, Hamill actually heads over to his locker, puts on his suit and his helmet, and then gets in his ship. It's all played out. He's not teleported. The big guy on the OMC is absolutely huge. I love how intimidating they are. The pirates currently in 3.0 have no real fear factor, as they don't take too much to take them down. They're quite easy to take out in the PU. Seeing them as an actual character in game is really good. It kind of gives that a bit of a fear to them. Also, there is a backstory to his tattoos before he was a criminal, and now he's a criminal, which is kind of cool. But he mentions the OMC belonged to Satakan. It sounds like he's one of the main Kingpin characters, sort of a threat in the area. Not to mention so far that we haven't even seen the Vandal. They've not made an appearance, so this is still early days in the Squadron 42 campaign. One of the Marines asks another member of the Marines to run up to his cell to make sure that it's ready for the prisoners, which you will see running past you as you begin to head down to the hangar bay. Now back into the main character's point of view, he gets his flight suit on, he picks up an additional 2 weapons. Not sure if you can carry 2 pistols at once, we'll have to wait and see. But he grabs his helmet and carries it. Very nice touch. You don't have to wear your helmet all the time, and this will be the same in the PU. If you're on board a ship, you don't have to be walking around fully suited up. You can swap them out. Chris Roberts did say that picking up needs a little bit of work. It's still a bit goofy in places. But he gets to the hangar, and you can see that everyone is going about their business. The Sophie Wu character jumps down from your ship and mentions that the new scanner has been upgraded. Scanners throughout this whole gameplay demo didn't work, which is why we don't actually see him using them. Bit of a shame, but this is probably one of the reasons why it was held up. Just didn't get it fixed in time. Now in the ship he powers on, and you can see the comms in the ATC. You watch Hamill take off while the deck crew do their little routine. The landing gear is flickering, they're dialing in, and this won't be happening in the final game. Next up is the main lead to take off. You watch the deck crew who actually go through the routine again, and you're supposed to follow along with them. They give you signals as to what you're supposed to be doing. It's a bit dark, they say, so you can't really see them. More lighting will be added for the final game. After all this taking off, you can see the new spacescape. It looks fantastic. You head past a couple of asteroids, which if you look carefully, you can see a few of them have those little cool spider miners that we've seen years and years ago, and nothing since. You eventually fly through this unusual structure. Not sure what it is. It looks like an entrance to some location, like a jump entrance. Maybe it's just a quick jump point. We also got to see the new in-ship map, which is actually in 3.0. You can use that now. He plots the course to the patrol point, which is just part of the main objective, is just to patrol and make sure the pirates are there. Jumps closer, and then we get the first look of the Coil. Now, the Coil is the remnants of Odin 1, the planet, which got smashed into pieces when the star novaed. It's kind of electromagnetic anomaly. Miners risk it there because there's lots of minerals, and criminals like the OMC use it as a place because people just don't go there. It's kind of a base area. The Coil is actually 20,000 kilometers in diameter. It is massive. And there's some very cool effects from the lightning, the high winds. It looks like a dangerous place to go. I'll point out some of the crystals as we go past. There is more work getting done on the lighting and effects. It's not a skybox, remember the whole of this. It's all volumetric clouding. You can jump to these locations. They are actually there. They're working to make it better in terms of animation, lighting and scale. The UI is also very early. It's a bit too clunky and will get better and easier as time goes on. There's a big focus for the cockpit and the UI this year, so expect to see that as an update in the 3.0 branch as it comes out. But he approaches the Starfarer wreck, and you can see the Reclaimer salvaging it. Yay, Reclaimer! Very cool dialogue explaining how she came across it in good faith and asking if she's seen any signs of another Starfarer wreck. We also saw a little drone as well, which is kind of cool. I hope that we have to do this officially in the game when we speak to officials, maybe, searching for bodies first and reporting your findings and explaining that you found it in good faith. Whether you abide by the UE law, of course, or not, you determines what you decide to do there. But it's nice to see an established set of rules for salvaging, which you could follow or you may not follow, depending on who you are. Now, the comm between the Starfarer pilot is a combination of two faces. They have not processed all the faces yet. The heads on the lower NPCs are more placeholders, so the A-class and the B-class cast members are mainly done, but the rest still need to be dialed in. But upon exiting the Coil, you get a comm call from a lady named Trio, who is played by Eleanor Tomlinson from Poldark, apparently, an advocacy contact who may be able to help, so you decide whether you want to go speak with her or continue searching. In this case, they follow the lead. You jump to her location, and for now, we'll call that part 1, as this is 15 minutes already. Part 2 will be the rest of it. Again, let me know if there's anything I've missed out. Tell me your favourite part for this first part of the video. Personally, it's probably the Master at Arms, getting your weapons and stuff. I really like that feature. I will be back shortly with another video, the follow-up for the rest of it, talking about what we see, pointing out little snippets, and also listening to what they say on the commentary from Chris Roberts and everyone else, bringing the facts. Don't forget, we've got a lot of giveaways going on at the moment. Check the links below, as well as some big giveaways like a Banu Merchantman and a Phoenix in January. Thank you so much for watching. Follow me here on YouTube, follow me on Twitch, Twitter and Instagram, and I shall see you next time.